Good morning, church. Today, for our very first I Am Trinity, we're going to be talking to my friend, your friend, Ryan Crone. Say good morning, Ryan.
Good morning. Good to be here.
So, Ryan, what brought you to Trinity?
Well, it started, was having we were having a church together with Jim Stanley, and he had to stop because of illness. And so he had seen an ad in the paper about a new church that was starting, Trinity, at the castle.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, why don't we go try that out? So we went over there, and Jim and his wife Kay and myself and my wife Susan were the first four congregation.
That's right. That's right, at the castle.
And that was, what, 6 years ago?
Yeah, 6 years ago at Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
6 years ago. It's changed a little bit since then, huh?
Is that?
We've changed a little bit since then.
Oh, yeah, a lot.
A lot.
And mostly for the good.
Mostly for the good. I don't know how to take that.
Yeah, that third floor was a killer.
Oh,
Was a killer.
Yes, I remember that. Yes, I remember that. So you've been here 6 years. Why do you call Trinity your home church, your church?
Well, we've been in Ecuador for now about 15 years. And during that time, we visited many churches and looked for one that we would feel comfortable in. And of all of them, this one seemed to match what we believed.
Mm-hmm.
You teach the Bible, you're current on what's happening in the world, and what else can you ask from a pastor?
No. It's all God. it's all Him. Well,
Also, you could also include the friendliness of the people.
mm-hmm.
I mean, even when at first we came here, we would come in and little kids would come and grab my leg, and every guy would come over and shake my hand and slap me on the back, and the gals would a lot of times give me a kiss.
No,
And that's biblical.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a holy kiss.
Oh.
And it's not a sexual one, it's like a family kiss.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just nice people here.
Yeah. We do have a good family here, don't we?
Yeah.
So, well, tell us. There's a lot of people here that probably don't know you.
Uh-huh.
So, tell us something about yourself.
Okay. I was always concerned about religion all my life. As a child, almost through high school, I was a member of the Missouri Synod Lutheran Church, went through catechism,
Mm-hmm.
and then toward into my senior year, I started dating a girl. I mean, before then, it was always a 3-date thing. I think I told you that once.
Right. Mm-hmm.
3 dates, and then that was it, because too many of my friends dropped out of school.
Oh.
Basically,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of the best ball players we had, he could have, I think, gone on for a professional career.
Mm.
He was the only guy that could hit my fastball, and he creamed it.
Oh.
But second year, I said, Tom, how come you aren't out? And he says, I'm dating this girl now, and she wants to go out and to the movies, and I got a car, so I don't have time anymore.
Mm.
And that happened over and over and over again. So I never dated again, honestly, more than 3 times. The 2 girls I took to the prom
Mm-hmm.
was the only date I had with them in high school.
Oh. Okay.
But it was different back then because you were always with each other.
Right.
I asked her to the prom, but I knew more about her than anything, because we were in class together, we did things together. And we had a lot of parties. They had what they call sock hops back then. You know what a sock hop is?
Oh, yeah.
That was they would open up the gym on a Friday night, and you could dance on the floor if you were wearing socks.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was not didn't want to push women away. I just didn't want to get too close. because I wanted to go to college, and I said, there's going to be plenty of time to date.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, I started dating this gal, and my mom got concerned about it. And she said, I want you to go and see my pastor. Not the pastor that we went to on a Sunday, but her pastor when she was a child. And we went in there, and for about 2 minutes, he was pleasant, and then he just started ripping me up and down. You made a promise to the Lutheran Church, and if you break that promise, you're going to go to hell.
Oh,
and on and
oh
on.
my goodness.
That was the last attendance in a Lutheran church until about 15 years later when my father died. I went there for his service. Other than that, I started going to Reformed Church in America. And we would go, at that time, we would go to the Lutheran Church in the morning and the Reformed Church at night. And I really liked the Reformed Church. It was much more open. The Lutheran Church was so controlled by the pastor, nothing started till he got there and had a prayer. Well, this group had got together and, hey, let's pray. There was just so much openness about them that I really liked it. And I liked the pastor there too. And the reason how I got into the ministry was very strange, because I was planning on going to college and teaching math. I wanted to be a teacher in math and science. I love those courses. And so one day at an evening service, and they started singing the service was at 5:30. They're singing for a half hour before they were just a cool church. Yeah. And during that evening service, he said something about, there's someone here that's thinking about going into the ministry, and I wish they would come forward so we could support him. I had he didn't talk to me about that. I had no way of knowing, because I was sitting in the middle row. If I'd have known this was going to happen, I'd been sitting there. I had to walk past. I got up. I couldn't sit there. I could not sit there. I got up and walked up there like I was in a dream.
Wow.
And after that, I changed to pre-sem and became interested in becoming a pastor. But I did not want to at first become a pastor. I had too many instances where churches were just controlling. The people that had been there the longest thought that they should be elected every year as the elders and stuff. They wanted to do all this stuff. And so I was going to go to seminary and go on to get a graduate degree and teach either philosophy or counseling or something. I did not want to get involved in a church. But that changed later on when I took an internship and worked with a church, and they were just super people. They were a lot like this congregation. Very open, very friendly, very positive. And I thought, well, maybe the church isn't all that bad. So I changed to pre-sem, and after 9 years, became a pastor.
Well, and you've been a pastor for how long?
Oh, since 1970.
1970? My math isn't good. That's over 50 years, almost 60 years.
30, yeah, and then 40, 50.
55 years.
55 years, yeah.
55 years. I bet you a lot of people...
What's that?
I bet you a lot of people that come here did not know that you're a pastor, and you've been a pastor for 55 years.
Yeah. Well, probably not. I tried. When I would go to churches here, the last thing I would tell them was I was a pastor. Because as soon as
I don't blame you.
Yeah, as soon as I told them I was a pastor, we want you to work. What'd you do? I was working with a lot with youth. Well, you could be our youth pastor.
Yeah, exactly.
And I said, I just want to find out about what your church is doing, not serve it yet. Yeah. But I served several of them while I was here over the time.
Yeah, it's
and
for me, I think it's a blessing
What?
to have you and Richard and some others in the church that have been pastors for many, many, many years, and that wisdom that comes along with it.
Yeah.
And to be part of and an active member of this church.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, can you share with me a moment where you felt God's presence here at Trinity?
I feel His presence in here a lot.
Mm.
But probably the most startling one is one Sunday I was going to be preaching,
Mm-hmm.
and I was outside the door, and just before I stepped in, my knee gave way.
Mm.
And I hobbled in here, and Ken and Marlea were sitting right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked and I sat down. He says, Ken, I'm going to need you to put a chair up there. I can't stand.
Right.
And he says, you're going to help me up the stairs too.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, okay. And then Marlea said, do you want me to pray for you? I said, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, absolutely.
She
yes.
laid both of her hands on the knee
Mm-hmm.
and just started praying. And I kid you not, that thing got so hot,
Wow.
I couldn't bear it. It was getting really, really hot. Not warm, hot.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, I said, did you feel the heat? And she said, yeah. And I got up, no problem, walked up the stairs, preached the sermon.
Mm-hmm.
Completely, God works in mysterious ways.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure that attack outside was from Satan, and God took care of it.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's been many times like that in my life where the only way to explain it is God's intervention. I know I have a guardian angel because I've been in so many situations where I could have been not only hurt seriously, but killed.
Mm.
I was working in the steel mills. They hired the sons of the people who worked there who were in college. They would hire them for the summer. And I was working there, and I was grinding away on some steel, and I wasn't watching where the sparks were going, and they burnt a hole in a cord.
Mm-hmm.
And so I walked into the foreman's shack, and I said, I need some electrical tape. And he picked it up, and they threw it to me. And I turned around, I said, wait a minute, what are you going to do with that? I says, I got to repair my electrical cord. Just give it back. He says, take the grinder, which is a big thing. It probably weighed 60, 70 pounds at least. And then a 50-foot cord that was that thick, put it over my shoulder and that. And if you've ever been in there, a steel mill is made in bays.
Right.
And everything is in there. It's there's a barbershop in there. There's a food store in there. You can get anything. And so I was on my way to the electrical shop, and he says, "And hurry up because the truck is waiting in the thing. They need this steel." Mm-hmm. So I walked over there, and I was leaving my bay, starting to go into the next one, and I saw a crane coming up, and I stopped for a second, and I turned around, and my foreman said, "Get going, you know." So I turned around and I started to take one step, and there was a hand on my shoulder. Mm-hmm. And I turned around, and there was no one there that I could see.
Yeah.
And my mother had an expression about how you get a tingling feeling all over you. And this is really weird. Mm-hmm. And so I turned around again, and that crane was right over the path I would have been on, and it dropped that steel.
Wow.
Now
Saved your life.
Huh?
Saved your life.
Yeah, and there was no one there. I saw my guardian angel. I wore him out, I think, because there were several times when I had experiences and no way to explain it except God's intervention.
Right. I love it because one time you told me miracles happen all the time. We just don't pay attention.
That's right. That's right. I hate the word coincidence. Oh, what a coincidence. That's not a coincidence.
No.
That's God intervention.
Exactly. So, Ryan, is there anything that you feel that God wants you to tell your brothers and sisters today? Any advice?
I think that the thing that has been sort of a burden on me is I'm studying everything I can about Christ's return. Mm-hmm. And it seems to me that there's a lot of things happening and that church needs to wake up.
Right.
I'm not saying he's going to come tomorrow or next year. I don't know. But prophecies that were made over 2,000 years ago are fulfilling today.
Right.
I mean, the Euphrates River, you said it will dry up. Mm-hmm. You can walk across it now.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how you get things in your mind, you imagine how they are? I thought, well, the river is maybe 6-10 foot deep. They have found, now that it's down, that there were whole cities on the bank that were submerged in water.
Mm-hmm.
So it had to be 30, 40 feet deep.
Right.
And there were ships down there with sails that they didn't know about. So that's truly amazing,
Right.
that should have happened. And that was predicted.
Mm-hmm.
And the East Gate, or West Gate, I forget what, was sealed 2,000 years ago after Christ entered in on Palm Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Or not Palm Sunday.
Yeah.
Palm Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
He entered in there. The word got around that when he returns, he's going to come through there.
Mm-hmm.
So the Muslims were doing everything they could to make that not happen. And finally, I don't know if it was a joint effort or what, they bricked that wall shut, that door shut.
Mm-hmm.
And the Muslims put a cemetery right outside the door, which no holy person would go through the cemetery. So they were trying to block them. But for the first time in over 2,000 years, that gate is wide open.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just so many of these things. You read Revelation, and it's like reading the paper.
Right.
This is happening all over the world right now. And another thing I was thinking about was the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And you get in your mind, there are going to be people riding a horse. I don't think so. I think now that it's happening all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
The white horse is spreading descent among all people, all the nations. The red horse is getting people agitated so they fight each other. It don't have to be one person. He could be spreading around all of this stuff. And the black horse with death, there's been more death in the last 100 years than in almost all of the wars before that.
Right.
So these horsemen are already riding, I'll tell you.
Right.
And then the other thing too is, I was reading in Luke, and he talked about the 4 things that when he was with his disciples, he says, how do we know when you're going to return? He says, these 4 things will happen. And he says, Israel will become a nation again.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be separated, but they'll be drawn in.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be recognized as a country. The other one is that they will be attacked by all of the countries around them. And it's the 7 Muslim cities, basically, that have fought with them for a long time. But now it's getting intense.
Right.
They're bombing the crap out of Israel, and Israel's bombing them back and forth. And I thought, gee, the 4th one was a rebuilding of the temple.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, that's going to take several years. That doesn't happen overnight, although they're preparing for it. They've trained priests in the old, they got their robes, they got they got a menorah. Mm-hmm. It's all set. All they need is a building.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was talking to God. I talked to God a lot. I mean, my mother taught me how to pray. Mm-hmm. Fold your hands, bow your head, close your eyes. I seldom do it, maybe in church, and that's about it. Because a lot of times I pray while I'm driving, and that would be very bad. Yeah. And so I'm praying to God, and I said, this is going to delay your coming then for a while. It won't be soon. And God implants things in my mind. He doesn't talk to me. Mm-hmm. If you were sitting next to me and he was saying something, you would know it.
Right. And
he said, not all temples are made of stone.
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked that up in the Bible. And in 1 Corinthians, it says that, do you not know that your body is a temple for the Holy Spirit? Right. And I thought, wow, mm-hmm. What's God doing right now? He's reviving the church. He's rebuilding the church, not with stone, but with people. He wants to get his bride ready to take to heaven.
Yes. So the point is, be ready.
The point is, you don't know. And he said, he even admitted, he says, I will come like a thief in the night. Right. You won't expect it. Right. So I'm just thinking that I've changed my life about certain things. I realize the importance of forgiveness. Mm-hmm. That just sort of really struck me because there for a long time, for 2 years, I held a very strong dislike for a person. I wouldn't even pronounce their name.
Right.
And so what happened is I said, this is not right. So I was reviewing people that had really damaged me or hurt me, and I forgave them. Seriously, I forgive them. And after I went through all the main ones, I thought I was covered. But then the next night I says, Lord, is there somebody that I'm forgetting? And in my mind, oh, son of a gun, I hadn't thought of him in years. Yeah, I forgive him too. And I did this again the next night, and I thought, I got to quit this because I'll never, I just give them a blanket of forgiveness.
Right.
But, we need to get ready.
Right.
We need to be ready.
Right.
And I'm not someone who's trying to scare people. I'm just trying to wake them up.
Right.
Because there's things happening now that aren't normal in a sense. I mean, they're finding dangerous places all over the world.
Right. Well, we need to wrap this up. And Ryan, thank you.
Okay.
I love you, my brother. And
yeah.
Thank you for.
I love you too.
Thank you for being here. And,
yeah. I'm glad to be a Trinity person, and I'm happy to. The people here are just super.
Yeah.
I really appreciate them, and I plan on sitting in that seat for a while.
I hope so too. At least till Jesus comes back.
Okay.
Well, thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you.